figuring out what it was going to look like. And it went through different transformations. But I remember the first time we put the makeup on, it took about 6 hours to get it done. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, so this is all about you and your journey in music and how you, got to where you are now, and we'll talk about the new project.
Great.
Cool. First of all, tell me where were you born and raised?
I grew up, I was born and raised in Oakland City, Indiana, and then I lived right outside of Evansville most of my life in a small town called Boonville. It had like 6,000 people population,
wow.
So really tiny. Then moved out of there at age 19, moved out west, trying to get some music going to a music scene, and took years, moving all over LA, trying to find the right thing. And then, my previous band, Death Punch, happened, and then we left there and all bought houses in Vegas because we were going to be gone on tour, and it made more sense to not pay for, a $2,000 a month cardboard box in LA when we could get a nice house for a fraction in Vegas.
Sure.
I've been here since 2009.
Oh, cool. You're still in Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Very cool. Oh, well, how did you get into music?
I come from a musical family. Like, my mom was a vocal teacher, music professor, and my dad a country songwriter for a bit. But I got a Kiss record like when I was 6 years old, and that's the story of a lot of musicians.
Sure.
Kiss started it. So I got a drum kit. My grandma bought me this piece of crap drum kit from Sears that was like $79, and
that's pretty rad.
I was a member of Kiss right then, so
sure. So you just started playing along to the Kiss record?
Yeah, it was terrible, but I would put on concerts for the neighborhood kids and my parents, and they were cool enough to just let me learn and be terrible. And drums, they're horrible. That's the worst thing you can do. But it was cool.
Well, you're just the loudest person on the block, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like that, and people that play violin. Those are the two worst things to let your kids learn,
Did you play and start bands when you were younger?
Yeah, probably around 14, maybe. Just with some guys from school, we started jamming Metallica covers and stuff, and then started writing originals. And then, you would go from band to band, and then I realized that nothing was going to happen in Indiana, so I needed to get out of there, and that's when I went out west.
Did you just decide, hey, I'm gonna pack my stuff and go to LA?
Yeah, I didn't have.
Did you have like a plan?
I moved near San Diego first. I didn't have a plan.
That's where I lived, or I was born and raised in San Diego.
Yeah, there was really no music scene there. I just thought moving out west there would be music, so I just kind of went there with a former neighborhood buddy who was in the military, so he was stationed out there.
Oh, whereabouts in San Diego were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I started in Oceanside, and then I moved down to San Diego. Or where was it? It wasn't quite to San Diego. It was like Vista.
That makes sense. Yeah, a lot of guys that are stationed at Camp Pendleton live in like Vista or Oceanside. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I lived there for a while, and then realized that there was nothing happening there, and then got up to LA, and that was shocking because that was so different, even from
from that like the suburbs of San Diego. Right, it's totally different.
And so it took a while to get my footing, and then struggling in bands for years, like so many, you'd get close to getting a deal and then it would go away, or just stuff didn't work out, and finally one did, and then
yeah. I mean, well, wow. So you must have been grinding for quite a bit in LA, though.
Yeah, working odd jobs, just trying to stay afloat and living in crappy apartments. Yeah, typical story. Lots of musicians do it. I hung in there. I stuck it out. That's really what I found that you have to do. If you survive long enough and can stick it out, your chips, your card's coming in at some point.
Sure. Did your parents support your idea? I mean, being both musicians, they must have been,
Oh yeah, for sure. They were always cool, always supportive. I would lean on them if I was depressed, like, what should I do? Should I just give this up and come home? Well, they're like, you can, but you'll never be happy. Why don't you just try to do something that you really like instead of trying to fit in with music that you think will get signed. So I'm like, they're right. I want to play shredding double bass. So then I punched up like shredding double bass drummer in the what was it, musicconnection.com.
Okay.
And then that's when Zoltan's ad from Death Punch came up. And then that's how we kind of linked up, was through that website.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool. Before Death Punch, were you like was there any like stroke of success? Like were you like, or was it kind of like right when that started, that's when things really started going for your career?
Yeah, nothing ever happened. I was in bands that would get close to getting deals and then it would fall apart. And I never wanted to do the hired gun thing. I always wanted to do original music. But then I was so tired of like my friends being in hired gun bands and being gone and making money doing music. I'm like, I'll do it. And that this band Wasp from the 80s, they were looking for a drummer. So I auditioned for
Oh,
them. Yeah.
really? I remember when Parental Advisory like CDs came out for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
like when they were like the big thing. Wasp record had like the biggest one ever. Like 2/3 of the CD cover was the Parental Advisory logo, and I just remember being like, I need to check this out, like just because it has that
Yeah, it's what,
gigantic. It was like so attractive to a teenager.
it's what we all did. We would look at album covers that were like, that scared us and went, oh, I got to get this, Parental
Yeah,
Advisory. Ooh, Venom, black metal. I got to get it. What is it?
sure.
So
Right.
I auditioned for Wasp and got that. And we started rehearsing for a European tour. And it was maybe 10 days to a couple weeks. And I found out that the original, or the drummer that they had for 12 years was calling them, asking them to come back. And they didn't want to do the work to work in a new guy. So they just went back with him and I was out. And
Oh,
then Death Punch started right after. So it was fine.
that's cool. That's cool. Like, I don't want to stick on Death Punch for long, but I was just curious, like, what was it like, you know, finally getting the record deal and like seeing success? Was that a pretty, I mean, that must have been super validating for you and all the
It
hard
was
work you
awesome.
put
Yeah.
into
I
it.
mean, I remember the day we signed, or finding out that we were going to be signed. Like you have this emotional letdown, like, yes, thank you. Finally, we get to start. And so that was exciting. And then, of course, experiencing all that stuff was insane and a lot of fun and crazy and awesome. It's
Yeah.
everything you think it will be and nothing like you think it will be, all in one. So it's great. It was great learning, great experience. I wouldn't change any of it. It's gotten me to where I am. I'm happy. I'm in a good place. So it's all positive.
That's amazing. Do you remember like being able to call your parents and say, hey, like I did it. We signed a record deal. That must have been a huge moment for you.
It was really great. Yeah, I called my dad and he was really happy. I mean, they suffered through it with me. I mean, if
Sure.
because we were close, so we shared everything. I always talked to them, so they were always experiencing the pain of failure along with
Right.
me.
And then they saw you, really achieve and play some, I know, some huge shows, I'm sure. Do you remember taking
They,
them out to some big shows of yours?
all of them. I mean, they started from the toilets on up to the big arenas, festivals, and all that stuff. So they checked it out several times. They would come out and check it out.
That's cool. That's really cool. And then now, so when did you start and when did the idea start for Psychosexual?
Well, it had started many years ago. I'd always made music on my own in my home studios, and I would sing. I'd write everything and record it and sing on it. And it was more of like a synth pop 80s new wave kind of flavor at first. Gary Newman,
Okay.
Devo,
Sure.
Bowie, Duran, it's kind of stuff different. And then over the years, it started getting darker and darker. And I was like, I wanted to get back into a band situation and try being the front man. So, I was like, well, what's this guy going to look like? Because I don't want to stand up there as myself and just be in jeans and a t-shirt and we've seen that a trillion times. And that's cool for some bands. It's just, I like theatrical rock. I grew up on Kiss,
Right.
Alice Cooper, King Diamond, Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, on and on and on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I've never seen a devil frontman. I mean, I can't
I know.
believe it.
I know. When I was looking at your photos, I was like, that's rad that he's doing that. And I'm like, also thought, I've never seen anyone do that. Like, how has nobody done that?
I don't get. I
Just,
honestly have no idea. It's so I was like,
like,
okay, I'll do it. And I had this makeup artist friend here in Vegas, and we started figuring out what it was going to look like, and it went through different transformations. But I remember the first time we put the makeup on, it took about 6 hours to get it done, and I'm like, I can't do this. This is going to be ridiculous.
yeah.
So now I
Every
finally
day of the
figured out.
show, it's like you have to spend 6 hours just in the makeup room.
I mean, that would drive you insane. It's like Jim Carrey in The Grinch, where he had to bring
Right.
in like people to train his mind and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot about hearing about that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was like a whole thing when he had to get that uniform or the facial thing on. I forgot
Yeah,
about
he had to
that.
bring in like special forces guys to help train him to be able to sit for 8 hours. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So now I've got it down to a little about probably an hour, hour and a half, which still is long, but that's
Yeah.
doable.
Sure. Oh man. Okay. So your the person came out and did the devil thing the first time, and that was when you had some songs, and was that for like a video or
Yeah, just
fairly?
for a video. That was the first time, like just to make a video. And some of those songs, like I put them out for a minute and then pulled it down. And but now we have the makeup all dialed in, and the band looks, it's all dialed in and everything. But you just try different things, and some things work, some things don't. I mean, I remember when Kiss started, they looked very different to where they ended up. They started changing over the years. So it takes you a while to get your footing sometimes and figure stuff out. But we've got a pretty good grasp on it now.
That's awesome. And have you guys had a chance to? I know I've seen the videos you've done, but have you had a chance to play live yet, or did this all kind of come to fruition like during COVID?
COVID, I mean, we did a live stream show, and then we just did a live performance for a radio thing. So we've done like two shows, but we've never done. It's never been for in front of people. It's just like live stream. So you finish a song and four crew guys go, yeah.
Right,
But you have
right.
to act like you're in an arena rocking because it's all over the internet. So it's weird. I didn't like it that much. So I can't wait to get out in front of people. It looks like most of the tours are already filled up for the year though, so we'll have to probably hit it hard at the beginning of next year. We'll do some one-off shows this year though, some
Mhm.
radio shows and stuff like that, which we'll announce. But a proper tour won't happen until the beginning of next year, and we can't wait. Like we're really excited. But we've been recording so much material. Like we like today I'm finishing the mix on record 6.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mean, we have material. I'm just going to release like a song every 6 weeks.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's killer. That's really cool. Yeah, because you just have the one out now, right?
Well,
The Devil from Hell.
yeah. And well, today I released a lyric video for an album track called The Torture Never Stops, which you can check it out on YouTube, and then it'll be on Spotify like next week. But I'll put out a couple more songs before the album drops, and then it'll just be song, and
Sure.
video,
What was
content.
what was it like coming from, obviously you're a drummer for you're still a drummer, but like coming from there to showing people like, hey, I sing too and I write songs. Like, do you want like, was it weird or not weird, but was it hard to kind of take that role on?
Not really. It's to me, it's just music is what I do. I love it. It's being a frontman. I haven't really experienced it in front of people that much, but I mean, you stand 6 feet further in front of the drum kit and you have a mic. I'm not freaked out to perform. I played in front of 110,000 people. It's
Right,
unheard of.
right.
But it's different, but it's exciting. It's fresh for me. I played drums for so long that it was like, okay, that's kind of lost the luster. Once you played for headline arenas all over the world, it's like, okay, well, where do you go from there? It's just going to be the same thing, which is great. But I like to experience different things. And, physically I was beat up from that. So doing double bass drumming just takes a toll. And we
Oh
started
yeah.
a little later. Like I was older when we started. So, if I could have started at 19, it would have been different, but I was like 34 when we got signed. So
Oh, right.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did see that you had back surgery. I've had 4 cervical spine surgeries, so I hope you're doing all right, man. That's the worst. Back pain is the
We healed it.
worst.
Yeah. It's really great. After the sciatic stuff and hip problems
Oh
that
man.
came from after the back adjustment. Now things are good, but it was a setback. It sucked, man. That surgery, as you know, they're awful.
Yeah, I just had one. I'm still like recovering. I'm still getting like nerve pain down my arm, but like I've had 4 up my neck, and it's just like I read the back surgery. I'm like, oh man, like that back pain is just, it's relentless pain. Like if you don't have it, it's hard to explain like how much it hurts.
Yeah, I had to get disc replacement and fusion and stuff. Like they
Yeah, that's what I had.
went in through the front and the back. It was that bad. So it was like a brutal surgery.
Oh yeah, they had to come through the back of my neck on one of them. Oh my god, was that worse than the front for you?
No, the back was easy. It was going through the front that killed me. It was because they had to take my guts out. Like it
Oh,
was.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, they're going through. Yeah, for me, when they came to the backside, they did like a limonectomy. I think that's what they call it. But yeah, that was the brutal one. When they came to the front, it really isn't that bad. But I didn't think about they didn't have to move all my guts when they did that. It was just I just scooted all my throat and everything over. But yeah, man, I saw that. I was like, oh, I hope he's all right, because that's the worst pain.
Yeah, it was a tremendous setback, and I was depressed for a while because you're kind of immobilized and you just can't do normal life things like put on shoes.
Right. Yeah. Go to the bathroom by yourself, dude.
Well, after that surgery, I had to get one of those booster seat things for the toilet seat to where you're just almost standing up. And
Oh
then
yeah. Oh my gosh. It's brutal. It's
totally
so
brutal. But
brutal.
at the same time, I'm like, hey, this is kind of neat. Maybe I'll keep it because then I don't have to mess my knees up every time I go to the bathroom.
There you go. And you're like, and I still have it to this day.
Yeah, I actually do. It's all cleaned up and put away,
You never know. Oh wow. So when Psychosexual started, you said it was like kind of a thing that you're starting on your own. When did you start, tagging people to say, hey, do you want to join this band? Like, how did you get people together?
Well, when I started making a heavier record, it was the guitar player and we co-produced it and wrote everything. And then he knew some people, so we put the band together from the guys he knew, and it just seemed to really work out. So very fortunate, very good personalities, good talented players, all here in Vegas, and so that's kind of how it happened. I didn't really know how I was going to go about getting a band, but it just fell into place.
That's cool. That's cool. So then you said you're going to release a song, every 6 weeks?
That's the goal. I mean, it may shift a little depending on how good stuff does or how good it doesn't do.
Sure.
We have so much content. I think that's just the new way to do it. It's all about what's next, what's next, what's next that people want to consume. The rules are different. It's not like you do an album and then wait 2 years. It's not the same way anymore.
Right. Yeah, no, it's totally different, because you probably grew up in that world of write a record, then tour for a year or two, put out a record. Now it's like you put a single out and hopefully it does well, and like nobody's like releasing full albums anymore. It's like people's attention span isn't there.
Yeah, we will release the albums. Like I'll probably do 4 or 5 songs and then drop the album, because once you drop the album, then that's it. There's no other surprise, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how we'll probably operate it and see how that goes. But because I love records and I want to put out a couple a year, I miss the days of Kiss when they put out 2 albums a year, and that's certainly not very common these days. So I will. That's my goal. If I can put out 2 albums a year and then a song every 6 weeks, that's kind of what we're targeting.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm curious to know, like you said, this all kind of came together during COVID. Where were you in Vegas? Like, what would you have going on when COVID first hit?
Nothing really. I dabble in some horror movie stuff here and there, and I was always just kind of creating music and also kind of relaxing and still recovering from stuff. So um, COVID happened, and then it was like, well, you can't do anything. Let's just keep making music. So we've been working ever since, and now we have 6 records.
That's amazing. That's cool. And then hopefully, like you said, everybody's kind of booked out, I'm sure, because nobody's been able to play. So it's probably harder to get at shows. But you said you have some stuff coming up.
There'll be some one-off shows this year, and then we'll do a proper tour next year.
Full makeup, everything for every show?
Every show, yeah. I mean, that's the band. That's what we do. It's going to be theatrical, as much as we can get away with and afford. Production stuff costs money, so we'll do what we can, depending on the venue, the tour, the slot. If we're playing at 6:30, the dinner set, door opening band, and you have this much stage space, we probably won't be able to be the full Kiss show that I want, but we'll hopefully get it there at some point.
I love it. That's amazing. I can't wait to see what you guys have in store. You have more music videos coming out?
Yeah. We released a lyric video today, but there'll be official videos that follow for each song I release.
Okay. How many of those do you have in the can so far? Or only just a few? Or are you working on more?
Oh yeah. I just made plans. I booked a date to film a few more videos, but there's another one already in the can, and the lyric videos are easy. You make those pretty quick and they're fairly inexpensive, and you just try to make them interesting enough to tide somebody over until the official thing comes out, and then you drop the real one. So awesome. There's one in the can, and a few more will be created very soon.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, man. This is awesome. Anytime.
I have one more question before I let you go. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Well, the landscape's changed, and it's always changing from when I started. Like, we were one of the last band. My previous band was one of the last bands that actually got in when people still kind of bought records. So we were lucky to actually sell records. Now it's different. It's about your online presence and your socials. You have to create content and stay in people's faces. It's all about your streaming numbers, your YouTube numbers. So I would say create, don't stop, just write songs, hone your craft, and get in as many people's faces as you can, however you can. The playing field's level. Everyone can do it. It's just about who outworks and does it the smartest. So figure out your way, carve your own path, don't stop. It works. I've did it. I've done it.